Will the nightmare scenario actually materialize for the Toronto Blue Jays and their fan base? Well, Vladdy keeps on talking. And he's talking and talking and saying things that Jays fans are not going to be very happy about. So I'll break down what he said and we'll break down the potential of him leaving the Jays at the end of the season on this episode of 3 Up, 3 Down. Welcome in, everybody, to 3 Up, 3 Down. I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, and can the season just start already? As a Blue Jay fan myself, I'm getting a little bit tired of this Vladimir Guerrero Jr. nonsense. Like, he's a great player. He didn't reach an extension with the Jays. It is what it is at this point. Can we start the season and finally just watch him play with the team as opposed to talking about who he's going to play for next or how much money the Yankees or the Mets or the Dodgers are going to give him? I've had about enough of this entire saga, and I want it to end. I want the Blue Jays season to start. I want the real Major League Baseball season to start. We got a taste of it just yesterday between the Dodgers and the Cubs, game two of their Tokyo series, but now it's back to spring training action until we get opening day in about a week or so. But before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. A large percentage of you who are watching these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So it'd mean the world to me if you could help get me to 3,000, and we're extremely close to that goal. So thank you all so much for the support. But this is what I'm talking about, and this is from Keegan Matheson. The Vladimir Guerrero Jr. interview was recorded nearly 2 weeks ago, prior to last week's round of news, leaks, requests, etc. I still want to give Vladdy a bit of leeway here because I think this past week has been a lesson for how this whole thing works. And this was Vladdy doing a sit down with, it might have been a Dominican podcast. I'll speak to every team, including the Yankees. And this gained some traction on Yankees Twitter. They were reposting this, saying, "Oh, Vladdy's gonna come play for New York. He's gonna come mash in the Bronx. There's a reason why they only gave Paul Goldschmidt a 1 year deal. That's to free up a spot for Vladdy next year." I don't know. I'm sure they'll make a run at him, but knowing how Hal Steinbrenner works, I don't think he's going to be willing to shell out $600 million for Vladdy. He didn't even want to be the highest bidder for Soto, and I mean it makes sense. I mean I don't think any player is worth that amount of money unless their name is Shohei Ohtani. So Hal had a line in the sand, and he didn't want to cross that line. Now is he gonna act the same way with Vladdy? Probably. I can't see him going against the grain and doing things differently with Vladdy this time around. It won't make sense. And if you're saying no to Juan Soto, or if you're not going to be the highest bidder for Juan Soto, then chances are you're not going to get into an all-out war with 29 other teams around Major League Baseball to acquire Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Now, it's no disrespect to Vladdy, it's no slight on him, but he's not the same caliber of player that Soto is. So, I look at all these factors. I don't think he's going to be a Yankee. The team that I think gives the Jays the most fits in free agency is probably the New York Mets. But even then, I think their money is better suited towards their rotation. But then you remember that Steve Cohen exists and that he doesn't care about money. He just wants to field a World Series winning team, and they got pretty damn close last year. They gave the Dodgers a run for their money, ultimately lost in 6 games, but it wasn't supposed to be a year where they were competing. It was supposed to be a year where they were transitioning into becoming a playoff team yet again, or getting back to a sense of what made them successful in the past. Now they got Juan Soto. I think the rotation leaves a little bit to be desired, but I can see them thinking that Vladdy is the missing piece and that he's the final piece of the puzzle to the World Series equation. That's all entirely possible. So if any team scares me in free agency, it's definitely the New York Mets, and that's pretty much where I draw my conclusion. I don't know if the Yankees are going to be a serious threat. I don't think the Red Sox will either. They don't spend that amount of money, and neither has any team really, besides the Mets and the Dodgers. So this is uncharted territory for every team besides those two squads that I just mentioned. So it's going to be interesting to follow. But again, as I mentioned in the intro, just start the season already. Get me some meaningful baseball because I'm pretty checked out with all this off-season crap, and I just want it to end. I want to see some actual baseball that is being played, that is not at 6 in the morning, and I want to see the season start. It's a long year, it's a grind, but when you look at the standings at the end of the year and a team misses the playoffs by one game or two games, you circle back to those games early in April and uh, you're like, wow, I wish I didn't. I wish my second baseman didn't make an error in the ninth inning, or I wish my closer didn't blow this game early on. Like it's moments like that that really remind you why we're fans of this game. And players like Vladdy, players like Soto, players like Otani, they are the reason why people turn on their TVs and they want to watch. You just never know what's going to happen, and that is the beauty of baseball. You just never know what's going to go down. And I don't know what's going to go down with this Vladdy stuff, but I hope he's a Blue Jay for life. That'll wrap it up for this episode. Make sure to tune in tomorrow on 3 Up, 3 Down.